Hey folks, it's Sam going live today because of the shocking Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore. I'm actually from that area. I've driven on that bridge many times. I remember when the bridge was built. And you see, we have the chart here of the eclipse of this, not of the eclipse actually, of the moment that the bridge collapsed. We have the exact time. We have a sort of play-by-play of when the ship veered off course and then exactly when it struck the bridge. Look at this exact conjunction with Ketu, the south node, exact, right? And again, this is the true node. This is where the node truly is. And you see that the moon hit the exact point with the true node right after the eclipse. We had the lunar eclipse yesterday. Now the node exactly hits Ketu, or I'm sorry, the moon hits the node exactly. It was a Scorpio rising, and this was just an incredibly sad and unfortunate event. You could see here's the video of the actual collapse. This was at 1:27 a.m. this morning in Baltimore, Maryland. Again, shocking to see. As someone, again, I lived there till I was in my early 30s. I didn't drive on that bridge a lot because it took you in an area of town actually called Dundalk, which there's nothing wrong with Dundalk, but it's not like the main area. I would go into Baltimore through South Baltimore and through like Brooklyn Park and whatnot. That would take you downtown near the harbor and whatnot. But it's a very historic area of Baltimore, actually, because it was called Key Bridge because one of the entry points was Fort Armistead Park, which is where Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner lyrics when he says, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?" He was at Fort Armistead looking out in the harbor while they were battling the British ships in the War of 1812. So it's very historic, named bridge. And there's a beautiful park right there called Fort Armistead Park, again, which is where he wrote the Star Spangled Banner. So very shocking situation there. And as you see, this happened with this chart here, Scorpio ascendant, Ketu moon exact. I do want to, while I have people here, at least in this live, I just dropped a link to the Rahu and Pisces, Ketu and Virgo free web class. If you haven't gotten it yet, I know there's a lot of new members to my channel lately. This goes over this entire transit of Rahu and Pisces, Ketu and Virgo, including these eclipses. You can see there's a banner scrolling on the bottom of this video that has this link. That has this link that I just dropped in the chat. I'll also put it below the video in the description. I wanted to go live here because I'm about to run out and do something, but I wanted to also say that. The other thing is I'm going to be doing a full, like a much deeper dive into this event later today. It'll be free, or it'll be a comprehensive deep dive for those who join my channel at the Oracle level, Oracle 5D. This is where people who really want to learn and understand and get these deep case studies can do that. As you see, I have a join button below the video. You can become a member. Beneath this video, you see there's a join button and a subscribe button. Of course, subscribe to the channel, but when you click join, you're going to get access to the fastest growing Vedic astrology community on YouTube. You can see daily forecast, weekly forecast, and a lot of special videos that the members get. Again, it's very easy. All you do is you click join beneath the video. Most people get the Oracle 5D avatar level. It's less than $1 a day. You can stay connected. Tons of free videos that you get now, but also each week. Again, so yeah, just wanted to let people know that this is what the Oracle 5D was designed for, so that you can take advantage of these deep dive videos that I'm going to do, where I analyze things like this in great depth. Because again, I'm also obviously doing it here, and I'm showing you what happened. Per the intense astrology, as you can see, this Scorpio ascendant. Then you have Mars, Venus, Saturn in the 4th house. Again, deep down here with all this intense energy. Saturn and Mars have this destructive quality. Venus actually has to do with vehicles, including boats. And of course, they're also on the water. And this Rahu sun is in the water sign, of course, of Pisces. Pisces is also about dissolving and breaking things and things dissolving. And Virgo is very much like a bridge, a structure. I actually thought when it first happened that the moon gone into Chitra Nakshatra yet, because Chitra is the next nakshatra, which in fact, a few minutes, maybe an hour after this, the moon would have gone into Chitra, because that starts at 23 degrees. So you see the moon is right on the cusp of Hasta and Chitra. But again, you see this indicated, again, a Scorpio ascendant in Jeshta, which is also about destruction. Rahu sun in Pisces, about dissolving, and then structure here with Virgo. So this is very much a indicative of what we could see here. And again, it's a very, very tragic event. Again, I don't like to come talking about things like this. We pray for the people that are still missing. As it stands right now, obviously there were people working on the bridge. It was 1:30 a.m., which I guess I wouldn't say it's a blessing, but of course it could have been a lot worse, because if it would have been rush hour, or boats go under that bridge all the time. If it would have been better, been more people on the bridge, plus the boat called out a mayday, which somehow stopped traffic. I'm not sure all the details. But if it had been more people on the bridge, obviously, at least in their cars, it would have been more of a tragedy. I just saw the news. They're not really sure how many people were even on the bridge at the time that it went down. That means people in automobiles. They're not really sure. Obviously, people are like, of course, the media is like, we need more answers. Like, how about you let them get their bearings? It was barely 12 hours ago, right? Before they come out and then start giving misinformation, and then you're going to cry and complain about misinformation. So again, let them get the story straight. We do know that there were bridge workers that fell off the bridge. Some of them were released from what's called shock trauma unit, which is a world-renowned medical facility in Maryland. One worker fell off the bridge and was already released from shock trauma. But then there's others that were missing, at least I think 6. And then they don't know how many cars were on the bridge. Of course they don't know. Look at what happened. Look at this unbelievable video. I mean, watching this structure fall like this, I mean, how can anyone know whether there were cars? Any cars that were on this bridge were suddenly plunged into icy water. Man, this is just horrible. Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. To people all around the country, around the world, just watching a bridge fall like this is shocking enough. To someone who has driven on that bridge, I honestly, I used to live about, I don't know, I had 5 to 10 miles, maybe less. I can't keep it straight, but I used to live in an area called Curtis Bay, which is the way you would, if you were to go into Baltimore, actually the fastest, what's officially called Baltimore, the fastest from where I used to live would be this bridge, but it's actually southeast Baltimore, which is more the shipping area, again, an area called Dundalk. And there's really no reason, there was no reason for me to go into that area, to the city in that direction usually, unless, again, I dated a girl that lived in Dundalk, so I would go in, but usually I didn't go into the city through the Key Bridge. But I used to live not that far from it. I see it all the time. You can see it from all over the place because, again, it's a big bridge that spans a major part of the city. And that area especially, that southeast part of where there's all the shipping going on, Dundalk. And I see Rosanna here. She's a Maryland sister. It's shocking all of us have driven over the Key Bridge. I'm sure, like Rosanna, she probably remembers when it was built. I remember when it was built. It was finished in like 77, I think. And so to see it fold up like that, to see it just fold up like and fall apart like Lego toys, you know, you could see it's a sturdy bridge, but it wasn't meant to survive. As you see at the beginning of this video down here on the lower left, you see this boat has just hit the bridge. And then it's not meant to withstand that percussion, that force. So just awful scenario. And we obviously pray for the well-being of all the people. You know, it's very sad. I've never done that kind of work, but you know, I'm sure I know. Here's the beginning of the video. You see the boat is hitting, and that just hit it, and then the bridge falls on it and just collapses like Lego blocks. So seeing this very devastating moment, ascendant 25 Scorpio, Ketu moon right on Ketu, the south node, where the eclipse just happened, and Rahu's sun is in Pisces. Pisces, again, is about dissolving structure. Sadly, sometimes it looks like this. And again, we also see Venus, Saturn, Mars in Aquarius, which also indicates structures dissolving. And again, if you want to get I'm going to make a much deeper dive into this, because again, these very technical astrological explanations often go over people's head. And I like to have people who want to, you know, dive deep and really learn more deeply. And so you can join below the video. You can click the join button, and I'm going to be doing a deeper dive, comprehensive case study at the Oracle 5D level. As it says here, according to Wikipedia, the bridge was opened March 23rd, 1977. March 23rd, that was just a few days ago, 1977. So that's like, what, 47 years ago? Yeah, thank you for that. It says 1.6 miles long roadway, 185 feet high at its tallest point, taller than the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, one of the things, I will tell you this, I will confess a little bit. Maryland has some scary bridges, man, and I hate driving on bridges. I hate being up really high like that. There's one here in San Diego called Coronado Bridge, and I look at it and it terrifies me. One of the reasons I didn't like to go into Baltimore over the Key Bridge is because the Key Bridge is scary. I mean, when you look at this thing, again, when you see it here, it's, you know, when you see it in its as it's standing up there, doesn't look so high, but I mean, again, it's very high and it's scary. Baltimore, you know, we have the, you know, the Baltimore Bay Bridge that bridges like the Annapolis area with Kent Island, which is also so high, and it scares the hell out of me, to be honest with you. So if I could avoid the Key Bridge, I would avoid it because it was scary. And I don't like bridges. You know, even the beautiful Coronado Bridge over here in San Diego, I see it, and as I'm approaching it, I'm going, geez, I'm like going, Christ, I'm going to, you see it starting to go upward, and it's scary looking. So anyway, I don't really like bridges. And I just heard a thing from the interview from one of the workers today. He was saying how you know, someone who had worked on the bridge before, they were interviewing someone, and he said, yeah, you know, when you're working on the bridge, it's always scary because as motorists drive over the bridge, even when you're working on the bridge, you know, as cars go over the bridge, you can feel it shaking and you can feel it moving in the wind and all this stuff. And it's just like, you know, imagine being up on that thing and it's shaking around. And this, you know, again, and I know, because anytime you're on bridges, you can feel it shaking, you can feel it moving. But they're sturdy, obviously, but they're sturdy to withstand the impact they're meant to withstand, like to kind of absorb energy. Again, I live in California now. I live in earthquake country, so I know all about retrofitting so things can absorb shock and lateral movement in the wind. But nothing is meant to have a full-on hit on one of the pylons. So that tanker hit the pylon, and that's going to just disrupt the structure from the very bottom. And so for everyone, it's a shocking image. It's a 9/11 type of shocking image. It's the repercussions aren't as drastic because it's not the Twin Towers and it's not a terrorist attack. But I'll tell you, especially for people that grew up in Maryland, I saw in the news, I'm like, what? The Key Bridge fell? It's shocking. So I went to the Astrology to see, and yeah, I'm not surprised that I see something like this shocking event. And again, please get the nodal class if you haven't gotten it yet. I know that's a long link here below. Nodes, Pisces, Virgo.securecheckout.com. I'll drop it in here again, and you'll see the link below the video if you're watching this and it's not live. But I wanted to do this before I'm getting ready to go out and do a bunch of stuff, because it is really a shocking event. It's a good case study, though, and I've been doing a lot on these eclipses, of course. And I really encourage people, if you wanted to get a much deeper dive into this, where I really examine this in great detail, which includes things like the nakshatras, the yogas, how these things are related to things, even like bridges, conveyances, Venus, Saturn, Mars. Again, Venus is related to boats, the construction, other things. Then you can join at the Oracle 5D level. Again, you get tons of benefits anyway, tons of videos, updates all the time, but that's also another one. But aside from that, you have a great day. Sorry to come on with such difficult news, and may all beings everywhere be peaceful and happy, and very sad about this tragic event. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be peaceful and happy. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.